Thank you, Stephen.
Now, what I've been waiting for 3 days now.
Rita, because we have Rita.
Yes, of course. That too.
Yes. Let me see. I see she's here. Rita, you can unmute yourself. There you go.
Welcome, Rita.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
Good.
Don't
Hi.
worry, I know IRAs are exactly what you were waiting for because it gets everybody going. So just to introduce myself, my name is Rita Woods. I'm with Midland Trust. And thank you guys so much for having me. Midland Trust is an IRA custodian. We take care of alternative investments inside of IRAs. And so when we were actually told about this Forex Trader Summit, we were really excited to be able to kind of further explain what IRAs are able to invest in, which is Forex trading, of course, but more or less be able to be a value add, hopefully for our listeners here, that if you were ever considering using IRA funds in order to trade Forex, that this is definitely a possibility. We're here to streamline that process. And so really we want to be seen as a resource, questions, issues. When it comes to IRAs, we should have the answer. So just to start off with, a little bit about Midland. While we are an IRA custodian, that is the majority of what we do. We also have a couple other sides of business. We, are a qualified intermediary for 1031 exchanges. We also take care of fund custody. So we're a custodian for private funds as well. Midland IRA, Midland Trust, we're a trust company now. We have locations in Chicago, which is where I'm located. Fort Myers, Florida is our headquarters, and then Sioux Falls, South Dakota as well. We have, over $2 billion in assets. We have 15,000 account holders. It says around the country, but really it's worldwide. We have plenty of expats who have decided to retire abroad, or clients who have been up and moved because of their jobs, and so they're international as well. What we do is to make sure that all the elements of the administrative work for an IRA are met by IRS requirements. So the rules and regulations behind it, that's what we do. We know everything behind it. You guys can rely on us for that prospect while you are taking care of all of your trading. So we file all the reports on behalf of the IRA. What we don't provide, just to be clear, is we don't provide financial, tax, or legal advice. So we're never going to be here saying, hey, have you considered this new fund? Have you looked at this new trading firm? Or maybe, have you considered the price of gold today? We're never going to be putting anything in front of you as our customer. So, as many of you guys already know what the benefits are of an IRA, you're building your retirement and you're building it faster, hopefully in a tax-free or tax-deferred status. So IRAs, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, 401ks, those are all great tools in order to put money away without paying tax on it, if it's a traditional or a 401. You put that money away and you are able to start investing it. It starts to grow a little bit faster. When you have a traditional IRA, you're able to take tax deductions on it. If you have a Roth IRA, you are knowing that when you take out that money, when you retire, there's no tax on it, including all the gains. So really, this is just getting your mind ready for what kind of savings am I actually preparing for my retirement? Because a lot of times it's out of sight, out of mind. Your 401k is something they take from your paycheck, this X amount, and this is this match from the company. But really being aware of what your possibilities are is really the first step in self-direction. So, as I'm sure everybody knows, if you were to save money with a tax-free or tax-deferred account, you're of course going to make more money year after year compared to if you were going to put that money in, let's say, a savings account after it was taxed from your from your paycheck. So what you're looking at on this graph, and this is for purposes of it's in the same exact investment and you make the same exact returns. So the blue one is obviously non-IRA. The orange is the IRA. When you don't have to take out your capital gains every single year, when you don't get taxed on the gains that you made, that just adds to your new principal and it keeps going higher and higher. I mean, that's the premise behind an IRA or a 401k in general, but sometimes you kind of need a graph to show you just how wild that difference can be. So I'm sure the IRA history isn't going to be that fascinating to everybody else but me, but what I do want to point out is that IRAs were created in 1974. The most popular question I get asked on my end is always, well, when were self-directed IRAs created? 1974. So you've always been able to self-direct your IRA. You've always been able to put these investment or IRAs into alternative investments. The fact is, and this is going back to Q2 of 2019, and then several years before that. But the fact is, most people have had their IRAs invested in mutual funds. So when you look at 2000, it was about a good 50-50 that just mutual funds alone made up 50% of Americans' IRA investments. That's just one product with mutual funds. As you see in 2005, it actually eclipsed all other investment types. But as we know, with the Great Recession, people had to think outside the box. Forex traders are a perfect example of that. So people start thinking outside the box. You're able to hold Forex trading accounts inside of your IRA, futures, precious metals inside of your IRA, real estate, private hedge funds. The list can go on, but people finally started realizing just what they could do inside of their account. And you can see throughout the last couple of quarters, let alone the last 10 years, just how much people were diversifying and still are. So I get asked all the time which retirement account is best for me. Now I can tell you, when it comes to your situation, which ones you're even eligible for, I wouldn't be able to pick out the one that's going to be the best for you. It's going to come down to probably your CPA, just because you're also having to take into consideration that you need to have your personal taxes assessed. So your modified adjusted gross income has to be assessed when you are deciding. But we hold every single one of these kinds of accounts. So a traditional IRA, a SEP, or a simple, those are all pre-tax accounts. So the money goes straight from your paycheck into the IRA. There's no tax on it. Tax only gets hit when you finally take personal distributions. Roth IRA is going to be the opposite. You pay the tax now, you get the money in there, but when you take that money out, it's completely tax-free. Again, doesn't even matter if you made 3 times as much as what you started off with. That's the point. You're paying the tax now, so you don't have to pay it later. So again, this is all possible with whatever investment choice you have, including Forex trading. Now, the two that I wanted to point out in particular is the SEP IRA. SEP IRA, you're still actually able to make a contribution for 2019 up until October 15th of this year. So you're still able to backdate an entire year and still do a 2020 contribution as well. And then an individual 401k. Now, I point those two out because those two are for self-employed folks. If you're self-employed, you're able to put in much larger contributions of closer to 57,000 compared to, let's say, 6,000 or 7,000 if you were going to have a traditional or Roth IRA. So food for thought on that as to which one might actually be best for you. So you kind of have to ask yourself, why do you need Midland? Why is a company like Midland even sponsoring an event like this? In order to have these types of investments inside of an IRA, in order to have any investment with an IRA, the IRA has to be held by a custodian. We're an IRA custodian, and we are not a brokerage firm. So Schwab, Fidelity, E-Trade, those are all companies that are brokerage firms and IRA custodians. but they'll only allow you to invest in their product, what Schwab has to offer. Forex trading is not one of those things. We do not offer you any investments. You come to us and tell us what you want to invest in. And so therefore, you're able to do any alternative investment you'd like. So you need a company to be the tax reporter, which is what we do. And in order to go alternative, you need to go to a self-directed IRA firm. And, you know, there's plenty of companies that do what we do. We are, you know, one of several IRA custodians that go into alternatives. But why use Midland? You know, we were invited here actually to host or to sponsor and to talk because we have actually worked with Forex brokers before. We work with brokers, we work with the trading firms themselves, and we work with one-on-one with the clients. So on our end, we've always had a great rapport with the professionals as well as the personal traders. And it's something that I think speaks to Midland, is that we make the process easy and we're always there for client support whenever it's needed. That's really our strength. That's really what sets us apart from any of the other companies that do what we do. We think we do what we do and we do it well. And we know that when it comes to brokers, they've always sent business our way because they've felt the same way, that their clients are going to be treated the same way that they would treat their clients. So a lot of times
I can definitely testify to that, Rita, because Justin has spoken, you know, in the best possible way for you and your company.
Yes, thank you so much. It's probably the majority of how people hear about Midland. We don't do, you know, ads. We don't do billboards. We don't do targeted ads on Google.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, it's really word of mouth by client to client or from broker to their client to tell them, if you want to do this, I have the company for you, but you have to go alternative. You can't go with Schwab, unfortunately. Yeah.
And you know, Rita, I was going to say, and hello, my name is Blake Morrow. I wanted to say, as a currency trader in the United States, you know, there's not a lot of options available, and there's so many traders, especially here in the United States, that didn't even know or don't know that they can trade in their you know, their IRAs or tax deferred vehicles. And so this is a really big eye opener, I'm sure, for a lot of traders that are listening in right now. And I think it's a huge service that you guys offer. You know, obviously, you know, currency traders might think, well, you know, I'm going to, you know, I trade currencies, so I might be using a little bit more leverage than maybe I should be using in my retirement account. But remember, as a trader trading currencies, you don't have to use a lot of leverage. You don't have to apply a lot of leverage. You just trade smaller positions and, you know, directionally be able to take advantage of the currency market and some of these fluctuations in a tax deferred way. So what a huge benefit that you guys offer.
Right.
If I can forward a question really fast, Jeffrey says, I'm 71 years old. Can I still set up an individual KIRA?
So you can set up an NDK if you are self-employed. So that is not going to have that age restriction. The government also increased that age restriction to, instead of 70 and a half, to 72. So you're still able to, but you'd have to show proof of income in any type of retirement account that you can still contribute to. You have to show proof of income. So if you have wages on your, when you're filing your taxes, you can still consider making a contribution. Yes.
Okay.
Can I just add one thing about IRAs and retirement, Rita? Just my own example, and I know that it's probably a mindset for many. I love the tax advantages, but a lot of younger traders, and I'm just self-talk here, I would say to myself, I don't have to worry about retirement because I'm going to make so much money being a trader. Who cares about having an IRA and having assets accumulate and continue to do so tax-free? So I am really stressing it as a mentor, just a kind of a life coach, that everyone should do this. It's like Mickey Mantle said, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. So you also have to take care of yourself financially so that when you get to be, you know, gray-haired guy like me, that you're set up to enjoy the years. And my retirement is going to be slumping over my keyboard. So anyway, I just wanted to give that advice. Please take it seriously. And even though we're short term with what we do in trade, be long term about your future and set up an IRA. And thank you so much for being a sponsor.
Thank you, Rita.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you, Rita.
course. Thank you guys so much for having me.